All right, we'll take you now to Washington here, courtesy of EarthCam, where there's strong bipartisan support for Israel outside of Senator Bernie Sanders and far-left House Democrats. But with no Speaker of the House, what is Congress able to do this hour?
For more on that, let's welcome in our national correspondent, Logan Raddick. He joins us live from Capitol Hill with where things stand at this hour. Logan, good morning.
And Sean, good morning. And no resolutions can be voted on in the House until the House selects a new speaker, but that isn't stopping far-left Democrats from drawing one up. And in a press statement after the motion that they had was drawn up, Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bush put out the following statement saying, quote, "The United States bears a unique responsibility to exhaust every diplomatic tool at our disposal to prevent mass atrocities and save lives." Now, Bush and her colleagues made no mention of the mass murder, rape, and kidnapping at an Israeli music festival, which was one of the terrorist attacks that led to the current war that Israel's fighting with Gaza. They also did not mention that the Americans who were killed or held hostage at the moment by Hamas. And Republicans and many Democrats are saying they don't believe that peace is possible with the Palestinians, with terrorists in charge of Gaza. And also you have the Palestinian Authority led by Mahmoud Abbas, who just approved $3 million in salaries for the families of terrorists, lifetime pensions for them murdering innocent civilians. Here's Congressman Darrell Issa on Newsmax last night.
I met with Yasser Arafat. I've met with Mahmoud Abbas. These people will talk the talk, but their actions constantly say they're not willing to do what they need to do to form a government that can be trusted.
And in the upper chamber, Senate Republicans and even some Senate Democrats are leading a bipartisan group urging the Biden administration to make it official U.S. policy to refreeze the $6 billion in Iranian assets that are being held by Qatar in the wake of Hamas's deadly terrorist attacks on Israel. At least 8 Democrats, led by Jackie Rosen, are siding with Republicans. And one of those Republicans is Senator Joni Ernst. She was on Rob Schmitt Tonight last night.
Biden has been appeasing authoritarian regimes around this planet for, the entire time that he has been president. So it's no wonder that Iran feels free to embolden Hamas and allow them to move into Israel in this horrific attack. So we've got some work to do.
And just a short time from now, Senate Republicans, they will be holding a press conference about what they're looking for in terms of the Biden administration refreezing those Iranian assets. Meanwhile, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he's working with the White House on supplemental aid for Israel. All of this comes as Secretary of State Tony Blinken announced that President Biden will be visiting Israel tomorrow. Sean, Emma, back to you.
Logan Raddick reporting live from the Capitol. Logan, thank you very much. With us now to continue the conversation, Montana Congressman Ryan Zinke. Congressman, welcome, and thanks so much for coming on. Why is it that all members of Congress cannot uniformly come together and condemn Hamas and their terrorist actions?
Well, right now in the House we have no leadership. And this is historic in terms of unprecedented ground. We've had 2 great candidates, Speaker McCarthy go down. We've had Steve Scalise, conservative, go down. And now on the last one is Jim Jordan, who I support 100%. But if we can't get Jim Jordan through the House of Representatives, quite frankly, you're not going to get Jesus through. At that point in time, it's not the candidate, because we've had 3 fine leaders, great Americans, all try and fail in getting the Republican caucus together, unified. And, of course, it's a distraction from getting things done. And then, of course, you have the Middle East is on fire. And, from a former SEAL, team, view of it, I can tell you that it looks to me like a coordinated effort. You have thousands of rockets. You have air, land, and sea. And to me, follow the money trail and the support, it goes back to Iran. You have, Hamas in the south, and I would not be surprised if Hezbollah in the north attacks as soon as the IDF becomes entangled in trying to do urban warfare in Gaza. I absolutely stand with Israel on this, and I think Netanyahu said it right. Israel is at war.
You mentioned what's happening in the Middle East, but bringing it back to the Beltway, there are many. Well, let me rephrase that. There are those on the left, specifically in the squad, that are calling for a ceasefire at this moment, despite what we've reported: 1,400 slaughtered, 3,800 more injured, 200 hostage that we know about at this time. We've heard of per IDF and Netanyahu about what has happened to babies, elderly, raping of women, again, children captured, killed. We've seen villages burned, people inside. But yet still you have members of Congress calling, again, for a ceasefire, weighing in on these options here. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I can tell you they're not coming from the right side of the aisle. And bear in mind, again, it is leadership, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of the first bills that comes across the Republican House is in support of Israel. But also, pragmatically, the House of Representatives has passed the Defense Appropriations Act. There's no reason for a supplemental. The Senate should pick up that bill, and it has the provisions that are necessary to defend Israel within that bill restructuring. But there's a vehicle already sitting in the Senate. The Senate was so concerned about Israel, about supplemental aid, perhaps they would pick up one of the bills we sent over there.
Can we ask you about the reports of 2,000 U.S. troops being on a prepare to deploy order for possible support for Israel? Again, no actual U.S. boots on the ground in Israel at this point. But what does that mean? What could that indicate is in the near future?
Well, it could indicate they're in close coordination with the Minister of Defense in Israel to ask him what support he needs. No doubt, when the IDF goes further into Gaza, into urban warfare, their assets are going to be depleted rapidly. And I think the Marine Corps in that task force can do non-combatant evacuations. They can also help. And certainly having our naval presence there with air cover provides Israel, I think, could be, with the right administration and the right objectives, it could provide Israel with security.
Yeah, two air carriers in the Eastern Mediterranean. Those soldiers, they're not for combat, but they're for aid. At least that's what we're told at this time.
What I should remind folks, too, is I remember this is the same administration that brought us the retreat in Afghanistan, probably initiated a weakness that probably rolled into Ukraine. We don't have a plan in Ukraine. We don't have a plan in the Pacific. And now the Middle East is on fire. So to me, Congress has got to step in and demand objectives and in support of Israel, but we can't do it without a speaker.
A vote happens.
Congress needs to get back to work.
We're hearing a vote will be brought to the House floor today. We will be tallying that, watching that, and bringing that to our viewers. Congressman Ryan Zinke of Montana. Congressman, thank you.
Great to be with you.
Thanks, sir.